Hey, welcome to my third Blender tutorial. This time it's going to be about lighting. Before we begin, I want to show you these two renders that I made of the same place. This is the Temple of Time, or it's inspired on the Temple of Time of the Legend of Zelda. And I want to show you this very basic lighting rig. There are 3 lamps scattered pretty much randomly all over the place with the default settings, nothing fancy. And you can see that it's a very well lit, very bright, very cheerful, I guess you could say, setting. It's very easy to do as well. There are only 3 lamps scattered around, and for instance, in a video game application, you would want something like this, because there are not a lot of shadows to calculate. There are not a lot of shadows where you could miss something that you want to see. There are a little bit of shadows on the top of the arches, or on the bottom of the arches, I guess. Nothing fancy, very simple, very easy, and quite effective, I might say. Now, let's go to a more complex setting. This in fact will take you probably a couple of hours, maybe a little bit more, with a lot of God rays coming in from the top, a lot of God rays coming in from the windows, a lot of shadows, a lot of what we call ambient occlusion, where the places that are more difficult to reach are darker. And this emulates the dirt, that is the dust that's accumulated in the harder areas to reach or to clean, I guess. Shadows here too. So this is a very complex setting. I think it looks very nice, but it really depends on the application that you want. You might be saying that this looks better for you and you would like to use this setting for your or this lighting rig for your scenes, and because it's simpler and it might look better to you, but it's not really that. It's the overall feeling that you want to achieve. So this might be a palace where it's just brand new, just built. This might be the same palace when the darker knights came and took hold of it. Probably the roof is falling apart too. That's why the rays coming in from the top. There's a lot of dust. That's why you can see the God rays that come in from the window. And this is a more difficult set of lighting. This is a very hard feeling to achieve. So that's the word here, the feeling that you want to achieve. And the lighting is going to help you achieve one or another feeling. So let's go to Blender. I'm going to show you the 4-point rig, the one that I like, and I'm going to begin showing you the different rigs so that you can see the differences between the renders. This is a very basic common setup. In fact, this is the one that you have in your home camera, on your photographic camera, where the flash, in this case represented by this lamp, is built on top of the camera, right? So it's in the same place. I'm going to render this so that you can see what's going on. And the first thing that we see is the specular reflection right on the center of the sphere, and there's a little contour of shadow around the sphere. We don't like this because it flattens out the sphere, and we don't want it. We want more depth. So that's a problem with the home cameras, that the flash is built on top of the camera, and you get this feeling of flatness. We're going to be using, instead of that, what I call, or what they call, the key lighting. Key lightings, you might use a lamp, you might use whatever you want. I like to use a spotlight because of all the flexibility that these options offer. So before we go to the settings of the lamp, I want to show you the render. You can see, first of all, it's a more dramatic look. Yeah, not exactly from the specular reflection is not exactly on the center, and the shadow is casted here. And there's also a sort of spotlight feeling to it here. The problems with this setup, first of all, the shadow of the sphere, the casted shadow on the plane, blends in the sphere, so you cannot see where the sphere ends and where the shadow begins. So that's a little bit of a problem here. But for quick renders, this is a very basic and nice setup. Settings on this lamp. First of all, energy, I moved it up a little bit to 1.3. Color, I changed it. It's a default white. I changed it to a bluish tint with 0.8, 0.8, and 0.9. Just play around with the colors, see what works for you. I changed to the buffer shadow. Just make sure that this is on. I think this is by default on, the buffer shadow, but just make this on because the ray shadows are way slower to render. So they're more precise, and they waste less memory, but they take a long time. So try to use buffer shadows whenever you can. Don't go crazy with the shadow buffer size. When you see the shadows are being too pixeled, you want to take this up Just don't go crazy if you have a complex array of lights, because you'll crash Blender. And I lowered the spot size. This is the angle of the beam of light that's being casted. So this is 20 degrees, sorry. So the default is 45 or something like that, so I lowered it. Let's go to the next light. This is called the backlighting because, of course, it's in the back of the subject. It's fairly obvious. And I use a hemi-lamp for this. White. The energy I lowered it to 0.16. Just, play around with this. Play around with the colors as well. And no specular. We don't want it to attract a lot of attention. So we remove the specular reflection that would be casted on the sphere. So let's render that. And the first thing that we want to, or that I want you to notice, is that and I hope you're going to be able to see this in YouTube, I'm not sure, because of the quality of the uploaded video, but now you can begin looking at the edge of the sphere, and it's not completely blended into the shadow, right? So that gives us a lot of depth. So this is a very important light, and it gives us an overall depth on the whole sphere. All right, so let's go to the next one. This is called the fill shadow, the fill light, and I like to put it just on the side of it, on the side of our main actor, the sphere, just to the side of it. Remember that the hemi lamps are not location sensitive, so you can put them wherever you want. The important thing is that the dotted line has the right angle. All right, so in this case, I want to light the seam from the right of regarding the camera, from the right of the camera. I'm going to render that. And now you see that the edge is even crisper, clearer, sharper. I think it looks better, and it gives us an overall enhanced depth of the whole scene. Not only on the sphere, but on the whole thing, on the whole scene. Sorry, and it makes it brighter overall. So this is the 3-point lighting rig. It's very popular, used in pretty much everywhere, studios, everywhere there's professional photographers. Basic setup, very effective. And settings of this one, the same settings that the backlighting. No specular, energy 0.16, white color, just play around with it if you want. Maybe for an outer setting, an outdoor, you would like to use a sort of yellow tint here. And lastly, this is the bottom light or reflection light. I don't know how they call it. I call it the reflection light, which is going to be emulating the light that is bounced on the plane to the sphere to the camera. Render. So this is what we want. This is a this is a hint of an orange hue right here. So that accounts for the light that would be reflected from the key light on the plane. Then it would bounce off to the sphere, and then it would bounce off to the camera. So that's, of course, Blender cannot do that, so we have to fake it with a reflection lighting. This is the 4-point rig. This is it, and the settings of this: color, the same color as your plane, no specular, and yeah, I left this as it is. Energy, just lower it a little bit, maybe to 0.5, 0.6, something like that. Don't go over 0.7, otherwise it will be too bright, and or unless you're on an outdoor setting where you want the reflections to be very bright as well. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. And just before I leave, I want to tell you that I'm going to be putting this set for sale on the 3D Studio or some other website. Just, I'm going to be leaving the links on the top to the right side, just right there on the window. Just go ahead and take a look at them. If you're interested, please buy them. I would really appreciate that. And it would allow me to continue uploading more videos. So please, if you can, just go ahead and look at it. Buy it if you can. If you can't, it's okay. I still appreciate the comments and requests. So if you like it, just go take a look at it. And I hope you can buy it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be uploading another tutorial soon enough, and as always, thanks for watching. See you later.